Hello, good morning students of class 12. Welcome to Pandra Sir's virtual class on development economics and continuing our last discussion. Today we are going to discuss the concept of unemployment. Students, unemployment is a serious threat, serious problem to all the economies of the world, because unless we attain full employment level, then our potential level of production cannot be achieved and the economy cannot develop, cannot prosper properly according to its real capacity. That's why the problem of unemployment must be understood properly and must be handled properly, so that there is no unemployment in the economy and the pace of economic development will be better. So, in this discussion, we are going to first divide the entire economy into two different areas, like urban areas and rural areas. And we will discuss the typical type of unemployment that we usually find in urban area, in rural area and in urban area. And along with that, we will be discussing some other peculiar types of unemployment that prevails in both the areas, like rural and urban areas. So, for especially a country, a nation like India, the unemployment is a great problem because our population is rising. The Indian population is rising at a very considerable rate, and to cope to meet the new demand, that is, in order to provide employment to our large workforce and labor force, we really need to create more and more employment opportunities, which has been a challenge for our planners since our independence. So, come to the types of unemployment. First, we are taking the case of rural areas and the types of unemployment we find in rural areas. There are two types usually. One is disguised unemployment and another is seasonal unemployment. And as a concept, the concept of disguised unemployment is very popular and a little bit technical. That's why try to understand what exactly is the meaning of disguised unemployment. Actually, in case of disguised unemployment, the person seems to be employed. You cannot distinguish. If you look at its activities, then you will think that he is actually employed. But in actual practice, in terms of production, if we consider, then he is not employed. How? Let us see. Suppose I have employed 10 laborers, and all 10 laborers, by giving their productive service, can produce 10 chairs in one day. Once again I repeat, I have employed 10 laborers, and all the 10 laborers combinedly can produce 10 chairs. And suppose I withdrew one labor, I unemployed one labor, and now I have got 9 laborers. And if those 9 laborers also can produce that 10 number of chairs at the end of the day, then what is the marginal productivity of the labor whom I have withdrawn? 0. But if I am employing 10, also they are producing 10 chairs. If I have employed 9, they are also producing 10 chairs. Hence, the 10th labor's marginal productivity is 0. And such type of laborers are called disguisedly unemployed. In Indian agricultural sector, you will find this concept of disguised unemployment is quite peculiar in Indian agricultural sector or primary sector. Many people, almost more than 25% of our large labor group or workforce are employed in primary sector. But hardly many of them contribute anything to the total production of goods and services. So it is very peculiar in primary sector. And the second type of unemployment is seasonal unemployment. What is seasonal unemployment? Actually, in farming, the farmer never needs labor for all along the year, because only for some months he need labors, and the remaining time he doesn't need any labor. For example, to harvest, during harvesting the crop, I need labors. During transplanting the crop, I need labor. But there is more than 3 months gap between transplantation and harvesting. And during that interim time, I don't need any labor. That's why usually agricultural laborers who are workers in farms, they are not employed for the entire year. Only in a particular season they find employment, and for the remaining time they are unemployed. And such type of unemployment is called seasonal unemployment, which is a peculiar characteristic of rural area and especially agricultural sector, primary sector. Then come to urban unemployment. Urban unemployment, the reason is getting worse because there is rampant migration of rural people from rural area to urban area in search of a job. And the urban area don't have sufficient infrastructure or sufficient employment opportunity to cater to the need of such a big labor force. That's why we usually find unemployment in urban areas. So there are also two types of unemployment in urban areas. One is industrial unemployment, another is educated unemployment. So what is industrial unemployment? What happens when a producer shifts the technique of production from labor intensive technology to capital intensive technology in order to save labor? That time many laborers lose their job, and it increases the volume of unemployment in urban area. Such type of unemployment is called industrial unemployment, and on the other hand, educated unemployment. In urban area, many people are highly educated and they hardly find any job that matches them. Either they have to underemploy themselves or they have to remain unemployed. Such type of unemployment is called educated unemployment. Then, in other types of unemployment, here are open unemployment. Open employment is a failure on the part of the government. Actually, to absorb the entire workforce, entire labor force, the government should take initiative to create employment opportunity. But at times what happens, due to some problem like shortage of capital or some other technical issues, the government fails to create enough employment opportunity. And in that case, even some of the laborers, they have the ability, they have the willingness to work at the existing wage rate, but simply they fail to get a job. Such type of unemployment is called open unemployment. Then come to underemployment. Underemployment is a typical situation where you are working, you are giving 100% of your productive service to the employer, but the employer is not paying you 100%. Like during this pandemic period, many workers are getting 50% of their salary or 60% of their salary. This is a peculiar example of unemployment. However, the situation might be temporary in nature, but obviously it affects the economy in terms of productivity and in terms of development. Then the next type is structural unemployment. Structure. when the structure of the economy changes, when the economy adopts new technology of production, that time what happens? Actually, some of the workers cannot update their skill overnight, and during that period they remain unemployed. Such type of unemployment is called structural unemployment. Next, frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment is highly temporary in nature. Suppose I left a job and for 1 month I could not manage to get another job. So for 1 month I remained unemployed. So I am frictionally unemployed. So it is quite very very temporary in nature, and it doesn't affect the economy very much. And the last but the most important type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment, which is a common characteristic of capitalist economy. Just remember, we have discussed already earlier that what is the characteristic of a capitalist economy? In a capitalist economy, all the decisions are taken by the market force of demand and supply, and government never interferes. What to be produced, what not to be produced, what should be the price of the goods produced, everything is decided by market forces. Hence, as there is no interference of government in anything, then obviously the 4 stages of the economy comes in a cyclical way, like boom period, like recession period, like depression period, then recovery period. What is boom period? Boom period, when the economy is at its best and when the marginal efficiency of capital is the maximum, that time in the economy is called boom period. So during boom period, what happens? Some of the producers becomes more expectant, and what they do? Sometimes they produce more overproduction of goods and services. That brings yet another stage called recession. Means the economy comes down from boom period to recession period, and the movement continues till the economy goes to a period of depression, where there is no initiative, where there is rampant disinvestment, where there is increased volume of unemployment, and the aggregate demand in the economy falls drastically. And after that, again the stage of recovery comes, means gradually the economy starts recovering, and the movement straight forward leads the economy to again yet another boom period. So in this way, boom, recession, depression, and recovery, these are cyclical, just like water cycle comes, and it happens in a capitalist economy because government never interferes. In other type of economy where there is government interference, they never allow the economy to move into recession or depression. They maintain, they take necessary changes, they take necessary steps to restrict, to block the economy to so that it won't go to depression or recession. So during recession and depression, there is a large volume of unemployment in the economy, which and the reason being the cyclical movement of 4 different stages in the capitalistic economy, that is boom, recession, depression, and recovery. And such type of unemployment is called cyclical unemployment. So this is all about different types of unemployment, and you may get 1 mark question or 3 mark or 4 mark questions related to the types of unemployment. That's why you need to recall, you need to remember all the types, different types of unemployment, and you must be able to just explain them properly. So that is enough for today. We will continue our discussion tomorrow regarding this chapter, and after this we will shift to, after this chapter we are going to shift to macroeconomics. Thank you and have a nice day.